Alright, so how should I do this, you think? Start with the worst and go up, I think? That's most interesting. Alright, let's start with the tier list video. Should I do like a why you should listen to me thing here? Alright, you should listen to me because I am an E6 player. I have probably 4,000 hours in the game, and I've been playing since May or June of last year. I think that those are pretty sufficient credentials. All right, let's start alphabetically. Abrams, A tier, if not S tier. This character is just like a frontliner, super valuable to have in these random MM drafts. Like, you're always happy about having Abrams on your team because he's sufficient frontline, really good CC, and the meta build is getting a early Phantom Strike, which is really good item on this character. I'm not sure if this will be a comp or like an MM tier list. Like, it's hard to like, I'm just gonna do like sort of like what I think about each character, like kind of forget about MM or comp stuff. This Abrams is just a good character in both anyway. So A tier for Abrams, if not S. It's kind of hard. Bebop. I have Bebop in the B tier just because he is like a really lane dominant champ. He's like really annoying in the lane. He's also not a bad character at all, but I think it's very like skill dependent. Like, you have to be good at this character to like really like push him like above the thresholds of like B tier. Like, probably like the average character on it is probably like on like the B tier, but if like you're really good at Bebop and you're a one trick, maybe like A tier. And just for clarity, this is not like if you're playing bomb build or you're playing beam build, it's probably like D tier. This is a gun Bebop, very strong. Billy I think is S tier, for the same reason that the frontliners are like super valuable right now, and his ult chain gang is like very strong, and he really fills like the role of like your tank and CC in like a draft. So like, for the same reason as Abrams, he's like very strong, but I think chain gang's a little more valuable than like Abrams ult. Maybe like super good in mid boss as well. You can like chain gang and pull everybody off the crystal. Yeah, Billy just a very powerful character. All right, Calico. This character was like really bad before. I'm not sure like what happened, but it's like starting to get played more. And before, I'd say it was like C or D tier. It kind of like fell off, but now I'm thinking it's like kind of good. It's like probably B tier. It's like sort of like an assassin type character. It used to be like really tanky, and it was like an assassin, but she sort of lost like her tankiness, and she's not like the greatest laner, but she's like not like terrible or anything. Pretty like average character. I don't know, B tier. All right, Doorman I think is a pretty good character. He's very good in the lane. He has the 2 AP or the second AP called Bell damage talent, which is like super annoying in the lane, super strong. He's like a direct counter to like a lot of characters. For example, like if Warden like ults, he can put them in the hotel. He's like super strong in like certain scenarios, and then he's also just like a nuisance like all the time on the map. You know, he can like contest certain areas and just get out for free with the portals, and at the same time he does like a lot of damage still. He's just a really good character. I think Drifter I think is A tier as well. I think in comp, I think this character is a little bit worse. I wouldn't really put him in A tier for comp, but in MM, I think he's like the perfect MM champ because he has a really good ult, I think, for MM. Like his ult where he just like blinds certain people, like those types of ults in like MM scenarios, they like really like uncoordinate a team, and he can also just like pick off squishies and just any character that like stacks as well. Yeah, he gets the weapon damage from isolated targets. So I think any character like that is like super strong in an MM scenario, but in comp where teams will sort of play around that aspect of his kit, he's a little bit weaker, but really good in pub. All right, Dynamo. I think I'm gonna have to put Dynamo in the C tier because he's like not the weakest laner first off, but he's like not very strong. He's sort of all right in the lane. He's like mid tier, but the average person I see on this character sort of turns into like just like a stomp bot or an ult bot, and they sort of like don't really do much. I think the average player on Dynamo is pretty underwhelming, honestly, but I think if you're like a Dynamo one trick and like you are really good with the quantum and you know all the cheeky spots to like save your character, save your teammates through the walls and stuff, like maybe I can be convinced that like he's like a B tier character. And it's not that like being a stomp bot or an ult bot is like too bad. I just think that there's other characters that are better. So in order to not congest the list, I think I'm gonna move Dynamo down here. All right, Talon I think is B tier as well, and that might be a little controversial because I think some people are putting this character higher because he does a lot of damage, but really that's sort of all he has going for him. He's like super squishy, super easy to catch, and I guess you could make an argument that the trap is very good as well because it's a curse. But yeah, I think this character does a lot of damage, but because certain things like, you know, I already have 3 characters above that like sort of wreck this character, like Drifter, Abrams, and Billy all would just like wreck this character. I think like Abrams would just Phantom Strike this guy and charge him, Drifter would just ult and kill him from behind, and Billy can just chain gang him out of the air and stuff like that. So for like some reasons you can already like see already in the list, like this character just gets shit on, I think. But the only thing keeping him like from being lower in the list is like the overwhelming damage. Like he does a lot of damage, so that's why he's in the B tier. All right, Haze. I sort of like kind of like Haze now. It's either like a B or an A. I'm gonna put her in A because I think there's like a lot of like snowball potential with Haze, especially in MM. Like just like her tempo as a character, like she has a chance to just like kind of snowball the entire lobby, I think, with Fury Trance and like the point and ult and like Silence Wave, or even like I was sort of hating on it for a long time, but like Focus Lens. I think if you buy like a 15-minute Focus Lens, or like you have like a really good chance to just like snowball the entire lobby, I think. And this character does do a lot of damage, but it's sort of hard to play late game, I think. But it does do a lot of damage, and there's a lot of snowball potential, and it's a stealth character, which is good in MM. I think it's better than a lot of the other M1 carries that you'll see in this list, so that's why it's in the A tier. All right, Holiday, like pre-nerf, was like obviously like an S tier character, but I think this character did get hit very hard by the nerfs. I'm pretty sure her gun damage was nerfed, and then also a really significant nerf, I think, is this barrel knockup. She doesn't knock people up as much with the barrels, but the character is like super elusive, still like really hard to catch, and yeah, it's not like a bad character at all, but I think before it was like easily an S tier character, like without even thinking. It was like first ban, first draft, first pick or whatever, but now I think it's not as strong anymore. I'm gonna put it in the B tier. All right, Infernus. As you guys know, I've played this character a bunch. I might be a little bit biased here, but I personally think this character is pretty mid. So I think like Infernus just like kind of got minorly nerfed last patch with the Flame Dash nerf. He just does like a little bit less damage on the Flame Dash, and really that's like all this character has going for him in the laning phase, is that he had like high dash damage, but that damage against good players is avoidable first off, and even with the Flame Dash thing, he's sort of like a lot of damage from Flame Dash, he's sort of a mid character in the lane anyway. So what else? He's directly countered by Victor as well, who's like sort of popular in this meta. So if you were to pick Infernus and randomly draft into a Victor, that would suck. I did that yesterday. It was pretty horrible. But all in all, he's still like a decent M1 carry. Like he's not like unplayable. He's sort of like just mid as well. So I think B tier. All right, Ivy. I think Ivy is A tier. Even though Siphon Ivy just got nerfed last patch, the way Siphon works got nerfed, I think Gun Ivy's still super strong, and basically all Ivy builds are like not that bad, and in the lane especially, I think Ivy's super annoying because even in a losing matchup, she can still kudzu the minion wave, so she like kind of like, even in a losing lane, she doesn't lose that badly, and she's sort of like inevitably scales because she's like a really good jungle farmer, because she can just like kudzu farm, and it's sort of like hard to stop this character from scaling in a game, sort of like inevitable. And when she does scale, she's like a pretty powerful character, I think. And then the ult is sort of like a get out of jail free card as well a lot of times. So just like a good MM character, like you scale pretty easily because it's very hard to die, because you can ult out of a lot of situations and you can farm very effectively with the kudzu. The only like negative about this character is like it's sort of weak in the lane, but like I said before, like even though you're weak in the lane, like you're not gonna lose that hard. So yeah, I think Ivy's A. All right, Kelvin, I'm gonna put him in A tier as well. I think his lane is super good. I think if you go nade and beam, those are two like very powerful lane abilities. So he's a very good laner. There's like a lot of poke, and with the 2 points nade talent, he's really hard to like poke out of lane. There's like a lot of healing, and like a lot of times when you're laning against Kelvin and you both get ults, it's sort of like an auto win for Kelvin, because he can just like dome his teammate or whatever and like kill you inside the dome. Like you can like win against Kelvin like pre 3k, but like once he hits like his ult spike, it's sort of like a really annoying ult to play around compared to some other characters. And then dome is just like completely invaluable against like in some certain lineups, especially with like the prevalence of like these super tanky characters like Victor and Billy and Abrams and stuff, just the ability to like full heal these characters is very strong, because you're basically just healing like your tank all the way to full with the dome. So I think, yeah, he's just, that dome ability is just invaluable. All right, Geist. All right, this one is going to be controversial. I think this is like sort of like, I think in competitive this character is very good, but in MM I'm gonna rate it a little poorly, so I'm gonna put it in B tier, but like the top of B, I think, because it's like a very strong lane champ. But the reason it's lower for me is because of the how much like non-mobility this character has, and that's like very punishing in MM, I think. But let's go back to the lane. So she's super strong in the lane because the popular build right now is to buy like headshot booster and then go radiant regen, and this character is like incredibly strong with radiant regen, and then also it does a lot of damage and has her life drain too. So I think this character like just auto wins a lot of lanes, which is like super good. But late game, sort of like whenever I'm playing this character, I feel like a slug, and like it can be like sort of hard to maneuver this character around like certain like super mobile champs like Lash or like even like Mo or like Abrams. Like when these characters like get like super tanky and stuff, it's sort of hard to like maneuver this character and like play it well. But super strong in the lane. It's definitely not a bad character. Like it might even be A tier, but I wouldn't put it in S tier. I like top of B personally. All right, Lash. All right, if you guys watched my stream, I think you guys know where this character is going. As far as the lane goes, everyone kind of says this character is like isn't the best laner, like he's mid tier, but I think this character is like super Thanos in the lane, like especially in MM where like people are uncoordinated. Like in comp, I can see where he's like sort of hard to maneuver in the lane, but in MM, people, the way you counter this character, right, is like he can't slam, right? Like in a comp game, if this character slams, like you go on him, you punish him, you try and kill him, you try to all in him or whatever. But in MM, this character just gets to slam over and over again for free, no punishment, and this character saves 1600 for QSR and starts flogging you for crazy amounts of damage, completely free in pubs. But in a comp setting or a scrim or whatever, I can see how this character, you might consider him a weak laner because, you know, the Abrams he's laning against like instantly pins him when he slams or whatever like that. But in your average MM game, that's not happening. This guy is slamming you for like a 30 your health or more on every slam, and he's getting out for free every time. This character is super mobile, like buys like Majestic Leap, Mad Leap slams, gets out for free over and over again, doesn't have to buy like any survival items at all, just builds like pure damage and just one-shots people. The ult is like completely like, the Lash ult can just completely like swing an entire game, like you're losing by 20k and all of a sudden he Lash ults 5 people into a walker, just completely swings the entire game. Like sort of like Dynamo can do that same thing, but like Dynamo without his ult is like way weaker than like Lash without his ult. Like this character is just like, I pretty rarely see this character ever perform badly in pubs. Like it's always like dropping a nuke, like no matter like who's on it. So like obviously you guys can see where this is like headed, and I think it's just an S tier character. All right, McGinnis. There's not too many people playing this character, minus like the freak one tricks or whatever, and like they're like not even really doing well on it. It's sort of an okay laner, but yeah, it's just pretty weak. I think it has the gun build's kind of scary when like McGinnis like has like a strong game but has like a good game, but really this character just sort of sucks to me. I never really see it do too well. It's always like pretty average or below average, so I think it's like sort of the worst. All right, Mina. All right, well, let's talk about the lane again. Super Thanos in the lane. I think this character does tons of damage in the lane, super strong laner. The only downside is she's squishy, so in certain matchups might be hard to pilot her in a lane that does like a lot of burst damage or something. But a lot of sustain in the lane, a lot of damage in the lane. You just buy like headshot booster, mystic shot, and like on like every trade you're like doing like 400 damage, and then like you can like heal off the creeps and stuff, or you can heal off the tier 1 jungle camp. The character becomes like super mobile with the 2 max. And then obviously like everyone loves to talk about this character's ult and how it like nukes objectives in the mid game, or nukes like the mid boss. Pretty valuable tool. I think it's probably A tier. All right, Mirage. All right, I think I'm gonna rate this character a little bit poorly than it, like a little more like poorly than it actually is, but I'll give you the reason why. So Mirage, like sort of like a little while ago, he was like super Thanos in the lane or whatever, and he's still like a pretty good character in the lane. Like you just rush like QSR and like Mystic Regen, and like he like sits on top of like the bridge in the mid lane and sort of like pokes you down and stuff. But he has been like nerfed, and he doesn't deal like super Thanos damage. He's just like sort of like above average, and he like really needs to win lane, otherwise it becomes like really hard for him to play. Like the one downside about Mirage and MM, I think, is that it's very hard for this character to like farm very well. Like he doesn't hit like jungle camps well. So like if you queue this character in MM and you like for whatever reason like you lose your lane, or you're behind in the game, it's gonna be like really hard for you to like carry, because like way like a lot of characters, say like Infernos or something, will like come back in the game if they like have a losing lane. Is like they'll like power farm, or like they'll farm the jungle or whatever. But this character can't really do that. It kind of has to like, the best way to like get fed on this character is to like sit in like the side lane and just like solo farm like the side lane, and then like TP or whatever to a fight or split or whatever. But if like you have a bad game and you're not able to do that, this character is going to feel really bad. So for that reason, I don't think it's like a super good MM character, because it doesn't have that option to come back really if you have a bad lane. But it is like good if you're ahead. But for that reason, I'm going to put it in C tier. It's better than Dynamo though, I think. All right, everybody knows where this character is going next. Super OP in the lane, unkillable demon, just buys like QSR burst, and heals off the wave and the enemy heroes for like 500 at a time. It's like completely disgusting overpowered champion that needs nerfs desperately. So yep, just like unkillable, and at the same time is like having like one of like the, or maybe like the best health scaling in the game. Like he can also scale his health with his ultimate, and he also just does like a lot of damage. He like doesn't even really need to buy green items, honestly, to be like the tankiest character in the lobby. He doesn't even have to buy like green items, and he can build like purple items and damage items and still be like a tank. And also like because of like this character doesn't even like need to buy it, but like Phantom Strike on this character is like absolutely Thanos in like some lobbies, because he has like double disarm, and this character wants to build superior duration as well. So you have like double super disarm and like ult, and like this character is just like way too good, I think. What else? It's just like easily like S tier, like if not the best character in the game right now. So yeah, it's S tier. I'm trying to just think of like other things to say about him, but it's just like I think I've like touched on everything. There's like really not like a good way to counter this character at all. I guess I didn't really touch on Burrow. Like yeah, Burrow is insanely powerful as well, because he's becomes super mobile with it, and then also the built-in 80% bullet resist and however much spear resist. It's like 20 or like 40% or something. I don't remember. But yeah, Burrow's super strong ability. All right, Paige. Not a lot of people play this character, but I think it's like pretty good. The lane in some matchups her lane is like pretty good. The only thing that's like sort of annoying about playing Paige, I think, in the lane is like your ability to be denied. But if like you're like a good Paige player and you like have like the timing down on the souls, like that doesn't really become a problem. But for like a lot of like new players on this character, I think you're gonna get denied a lot in the lane, which can be a problem. But she does a lot of damage with her gun in the lane, and also her shield is a very strong ability, and then her 3 as well is super powerful. So the only thing I would avoid doing on this character, unless you're like playing like a low elo for fun game, is I would avoid playing gun on this character, even though it's like not too troll of a build. But I think like Paige is like a utility support character, is actually like pretty good, but it's not like super OP, so I think it's like B tier. All right, Paradox. So this character, I think this character in the hands of like a like one trick, or like somebody who like isn't very good, like isn't that good, because I think the combos with this character are like a little bit nuanced. Like people say like all you do is like you carbine and then you swap into the wall or whatever, but like you can actually do so much more on this character if like you actually like play the abilities well. Like if you like jump on top of them, nade their feet, and then swap them back into the nade when they run away. And like if you're like really good at this character is like super good. But even like a new player on it like doesn't really like know what they're doing. I think it's like easily A tier. Another problem with this character, or another reason this character is like super strong, is because the items that you build on this character, and like the meta build of the gun items that you build on this character specifically, they all have a lot of health on them. So this character becomes like very tanky while also doing like tons and tons of damage. So as long as you have the right build, which is like, it's like Hollow Point, Headhunter, items like that, you'll notice these items all have like 150 HP on them, or like weakening headshot, like, or crippling headshot. Like they all have flat health on them. So sometimes what happens in the lobby is this character is like the tankiest character in the game, while also having like a wall I can like dance around and like also dealing like insane amounts of damage and like having like really good mobility with the carbine. It like almost like this character is like supposed to be like an initiator, like similar to like Holiday, but like really what ends up happening is like this character like turns into like a tank like carry. Like I think like I was saying before, like if you're like just the average Paradox player, it's like a super strong character and it's like easily A tier. But if you're like a really good Paradox player, you like understand the combos, you have the right build, and like you're like good at the game, I think it's like easily S tier. Not sure if I'd rate it better than Billy, but it's, I don't know, they're like sort of hard to compare like two characters with like different roles, but like it's very strong. Okay, Pocket. This character in the laning phase is sort of weak, okay? In quotation marks, sort of weak. It has the minus spear resist, but at the same time it can play like incredibly safe. And what people do on this character is they play incredibly safe in the lane. They cloak the wave. They try and just clear the wave and like try to farm up their souls, and then get they rush a Mage Leap. And what Mage Leap will enable you to do is on every single wave you'll be able to Mage Leap and take a trade with a 300 barrier, because Mage Leap gives a 300 barrier on a 30-second cooldown and the waves come in every 30 seconds. So like what a good Pocket will do is they'll play incredibly safe, really hard to punish for the first however many souls, and then they'll start just jumping on you on repeat over and over again with the 300 barrier, getting out for free and just like chipping you down. And then once they get that 3200 Mage Leap, they'll also be coming up on their ult, so they'll just affliction you. And that like leads to the other problem of this character, is that affliction max AP does so much damage and it's non-removable that just like a baseline first time Pocket player can have insane value. While like people say like, oh, this character takes like a lot of skill, it's supposed to be like super mechanically hard, and like it is, but like baseline you don't really have to do anything on this character but max your ult and hit affliction, and you'll be like incredibly useful in a fight. So yeah, Pocket, insanely good. And also another thing about this character is that if you are a good Pocket player and you understand like the combos and how to get in and get out efficiently, this character like turns into a super unkillable character because of things like E shift, or like it can satchel and then Mage Leap out and like stuff like that. And like a lot of people like are not playing this character to its potential, but the people that are playing this character to its potential make it look so broken that it's not even funny. Like but yeah, your average Pocket player that doesn't really know or understand the combos, all it has to do is affliction people and it's still like A tier. But obviously I think this character is like contender with Mo for the best character in the game on a player that actually knows how to play the game. Insane clear speed and mobility. Yeah, that's another thing, is any character in this game that builds Mage Leap is like super good in an MM scenario, because they can be almost anywhere on the map very quickly. So that's why like Lash and Pocket are very good as well, is because in an MM scenario, just being or even like comp scenario, any character that can build Mage Leap can just be anywhere on the map, and it's just very quickly and it's very strong. All right, 7. All right, I think 7 is probably the best M1 carry in the game. He was just nerfed to where he has less regen now, or like no, it's not that. He takes more headshot damage. So I'd say like 7's downside is his lane, because he has 1 regen and he takes a lot of headshot damage, which can be like very like punishing in certain lanes. Like say like you go up against Haze, like you just have like a guy shooting you in the head like nonstop, and especially with Haze because Fixate stacks double on headshots. But anyway, the difficult part about 7's lane is surviving the laning phase. But even the problem with this character, or like why it's good, is because even if this character has a bad lane, it can still have huge impact in fights later in the game, because it's for the reason that Mirage is bad. This character can sit in the jungle and farm very efficiently with a power surge or whatever. It can just go around and like hyper farm the map, and then it also has a stun on 2, which is very valuable. And then the ult, 7's ult is super game changing. Just having like a screen wide like nuke on everyone is super valuable. So yeah, the weak side about this character is the lane, but even if it has a bad lane, it can still perform very well, and that's like invaluable. And also another thing is about 7 that's really good is that power surge, that it shreds spear resistance. So this character is a carry that also shreds spirit armor, which is pretty valuable. There's not a lot of characters that can do that. But yeah, in the same way that like Lash is good, or like Affliction is good, like the ults can like have like huge swings in team fights. 7 as well, Stormcloud, especially when you max it, because what this character does, it maxes power surge and then you max ult. So around like the mid game, you're having like a very, very powerful ult, and you could just win the game off like an earned fight, or like say like the enemy team tries to go mid or whatever, and you have 7 ult, you just like 7 ult in the pit. Like it's like unbelievable damage, can like swing an entire game. So yeah, I think 7 is the best M1 carry, like easily. Not sure where I'd put him over here, but I guess like here. That was a lot of S tiers in a row. All right, Shiv. This character was just sort of changed. The way the bloodletting works, like the not sure what exactly the changes are, I'll be honest, but it's something to do with like his bloodletting, and like he's like tankier, and like he defers more damage or whatever, like heals more deferred damage. But this character sort of similar to another character I guess I haven't done yet, but he's like a very good frontliner that does a lot of damage. A lot of people are playing this knife build too. This like they're starting to like max the knife and play him like a frontliner that kind of deals damage, like a bruiser sort of. You have execute on his kit, which is pretty invaluable in some matchups, especially if you ult max and you can like chain together a bunch of executes. He's good. One downside about Shiv is his mobility, but at the same time, if you're a very good player, you know that you can bounce off like every wall in the game. So like sort of like, I guess you could say that like mobility is only bad on Shiv if you're bad at the character. If you like understand how to like shotgun off walls and stuff, he's actually like incredibly mobile. And then you have I guess like the rage management is a little like tough for like a new player. I'm trying to think about where I want to put this character, because he's kind of being played in a different way than he was being played like a week ago now. Like people are starting to like build the knife builds and like play him sort of like more knife oriented. But before, he was what people would do is they would go 2 points dash and then ult max, and they'd like show up to every team fight and they just like chain execute people. But he's sort of being like moving away from that role, and he's like sort of becoming like more knife Shiv oriented again, and like being played like a frontliner with the knives. I'm gonna put it in A, I think, because I do think it's better than all these characters in the B tier, but I do kind of want to see more of this character. I don't really see like a ton of people playing it super well, but I think like bottom of A is good. All right, Sinclair. So I think Sinclair is a really annoying character to play against, but I don't think he's that good, honestly. I think the most popular build I see people playing right now is the Bolt build, and while like this character like might like one-shot you across the map, or like it does have like insane damage, I think it's like not really too strong. It can also like copy like certain ults or whatever. Obviously, like you can copy 7 ult, or you could copy like Warden ult and like have a lot of impact, but I think like this character is sort of underwhelming. It's just sort of like really gimmicky. This is a gimmick character. Like it just like has the chance to like one-shot you against the map, across the map or something like that, or like it has like a super strong laning phase with the bolts and stuff, but like really this character is like sort of hard to play. And like the one thing that like was really annoying about this character was the rabbit, but now the rabbit, when you get rabbited by Sinclair, you have like crazy movement speed now. You just like kind of walk away, like. But yeah, I don't really see many people like performing well on this character, minus like the few like one tricks that like really play this character a lot and they just like are really good with the bolts. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's sort of a gimmick character, not super strong. I'd rather have like any of these other characters on my team, I think, than Sinclair. All right, Victor. So obviously Victor was like super OP when he came out, and then he got nerfed, and people like sort of like stopped playing him, and then they realized like he was still OP. So like people are like starting to like spam him again now. And I think in MM, I think it's like a super good character, or even in comp, it's not bad as well. But this character kind of needs to like farm a lot. That's like the only problem I have with this character, is that like it really needs to scale, and then some MM games you won't be able to scale. But if you are able to scale on this character, and you are able to just like sort of like AFK the jungle for a little bit, it's a really like crazy frontliner. I wouldn't say it's as good as like Mo or like even Abrams, but like it becomes like a huge threat. And also it's like against a lot of characters, it's a really like, it's like a hard counter. Like against Infernus, like it can like debuff remove the burn, or it can debuff remove like a lot of like it can debuff remove like 7 stun, debuff remove like Warden Cage. You know, the 2 is like insanely strong, and then he's just like a nuisance tank, like a nuisance frontliner, like, and he does kind of have the potential to like really snowball and like carry the game. So I guess one thing about this character is that he's sort of countered by Pocket and 7, because these characters can build like a heal bane and like keep applying it to him, or like say like Pocket like afflictions Victor, and he can't remove it. I think silences are really strong against this character as well, because he can't use his 2 to cleanse himself and heal. And then Haze, for instance, can build focus lens against this character, and he can't remove it. So that's pretty powerful as well. But even with all those things considered, like his like the fact that he needs to like scale really well, or certain characters are like kind of good against him, I think he's like easily A tier, especially in MM, where like you like have a chance to just like randomly just not go into like your hard counters, like, or like say like you queue up Victor and Pockets just like on your team, or like they don't have a 7 or something like that, like, or like you queue Victor and like you're up against Infernus, like you have a chance to just like completely just like hard counter one enemy player. But yeah, I'm not sure like where exactly this guy is. I don't really want to like structure the tier list like say like which one's the best, but I think he's A tier somewhere in A. All right, Vin. So Vin pre-nerf was obviously like S tier character, contender for like best character in the game, but the win rate has like plummeted ever since the nerf, and I'm not sure what exactly was like the thing. I think it may be like because of the before the stake used to, when you stake somebody, it used to vacuum them inside, and you would just be able to like vacuum entire teams and then outfire, tether, again like Echo Shard. But now the one doesn't like vacuum anymore, and this like and I'm sure they did another change, I'm not exactly sure, but this character's win rate has like plummeted. But I still think it's like insanely good in MM because stake Echo Shard is like incredibly strong still like incredibly good, I think, even though like the win rate is plummeted. Like I'm not convinced this character is bad personally. I don't think this character could ever be bad with its kit and how people play this character. So like this is gonna like disgust me to like even like put this character this slow, because like I'm just purely not convinced this character's bad, but the win rate says otherwise. But I'm gonna put it in B tier. I'm gonna lump the flyers together in the B tier. I think this character is incredibly good still. So yeah, B tier crazy. I know it's either B or A tier. But before it was like Mega Thanos S tier, but now it's definitely not that anymore. Something has changed about this character. I think it's the vacuum property, or maybe it's you know, like things like Doorman or Mina or Drifter in the meta that like easily pick this character off now. Not sure what exactly it is, but this character's win rate has stopped, or has dropped. All right, let's move on. Finish this up. Power through. Okay, Yams, I'm almost done, Yams. All right, Viscous. So pre-nerf Viscous as well. His alt fire did more damage. Now it's a little bit weaker. And this character's laning phase, what it wants to do is it wants to like just like punch splatter you and right click you and stuff. This character in the lane is like very, very strong still, even though its alt fire got nerfed. It's very easy to play. Like splatter is like an impossible to miss ability. I've seen like Viscous players still be buying Express Shot, and they go like a punch build now, and it's like super good. I think I'm missing the YouTuber voice, sorry. The last Viscous I saw in one of my games dropped an absolute nuke playing Express Shot Punch Viscous, which is like still like the same build as before. So like even though this character's all fire was nerfed, I still think it's like incredibly strong. And yep, strong laner. If you go cube max, you can cleanse Pocket ult, which is incredibly valuable if Pocket is quote unquote the best character in the game, which I think it is, or maybe it's Mo, but being able to cleanse is very good. Yeah, just I think top of B tier, or maybe even bottom A, somewhere around there. All right, Viper. I think this character is a decent laner. It does a lot of damage, and Lethal Venom is like sort of a very powerful like laning tool. Like you can like get some cheeky kills in the lane because you can slide into them and like deal a lot of damage and like execute them with Venom. And so it's like a sort of okay laner, and you could like maybe like snowball the game and like farm. But like what I see happening to this character is because things like Mo and Abrams and Seven and stuff, or even like Pocket, are like so popular, this character has a really hard time like playing the game late game, because Phantom Strike is so popular, and Abrams Charge or combo or whatever, or like Lash is in the game, or like even like every character in the top row can just like completely destroy this character. Like Seven just stuns him, Lash knocks him up, Paradox swaps him, you get chain gang by Billy, you get Abrams pinned. Like this character is too hard to play because of the overwhelming amount of CC in this game. So like yeah, for that reason I think like you could like still perform well on this character. I think it's just going to be hard against all the CC in the game. But yeah, the lane is pretty decent. Can farm pretty well, but late game it's going to be hard to play, and for that reason it's tier. All right, this one's going to be controversial. I think I'm not even sure where I want to put this character. I have a sort of an idea, but I think I'm biased. But anyway, so Warden, super strong laner, right? You just spam Flask and you buy QSR. Super good in the lane. He has 2 builds. You can go either Ult Warden or you can go Gun Warden. They're both like completely viable. I think the ult was just nerfed in the last patch. And the thing about Ult Warden, which is like the more popular of the builds, like a minority of people play Gun Warden compared to Spirit Warden, is the only thing bad about Spirit Warden is the downtime between your ults. because you have this like super strong ability on like a 60-70 second cooldown, and so you leap in, use that ability, and then like you sort of like you have nothing left after you use that ability. You become very, very weak in between ults. So you're like not really able to do much in these like 70-second windows where you don't have your ult. So that would be like my biggest downside for Spirit Warden. But I think just because Spirit Warden is so incredibly powerful in that ult, there's no reason I could put him lower than A. And then Gun Warden is like sort of strong as well, but when I see people build Gun Warden, I see them like sacrifice a lot of like survivability. Like the Gun Warden builds, it seems like they're all like glass cannon, like full AD weapon builds, and they perform well sometimes, but I don't know. I think like for your average character, like they're just gonna go Spirit Warden and they're gonna leap in every 60 seconds, and like yeah, it's just I think it's A tier. I can't put it in S tier alongside these characters because I think these characters just have like are like way better, but Ult Warden is very strong, so top of A tier probably. Okay, all right, Wraith. So the downside to this character right off the bat is how overwhelmingly weak her lane phase is. This character scales like incredibly well if you're able to sit in like the jungle and you're able to scale, or like say like you have a good game and you are able to like win the lane and you are able to get kills and you just like play like a perfect game. Like this character is like gonna feel really, really good. But against like any good players, like you're pretty much auto losing the lane, and you're gonna have to like go to the jungle and scale, and like you're gonna have to like be sort of left alone to like to scale. You're not gonna have like the best impact when you like come out to a fight compared to some of these other characters. And yeah, she's like very, very strong when you scale, but you pretty much have to scale every game. Every game you're like incredibly weak, and then you have to hit your spikes, and then she becomes a character. And I think that's just not the type of character you want to lock in MM scenario personally. But if you like to, you know, be weak and then scale and then become strong, then good character for you, I guess. I'm gonna put it in C tier, probably there. Better than Viper. Oh, I'm gonna move Viper down to D actually. Something like that. All right, last one. Yamato. Super strong character in the lane. It just like lobs right clicks at you, and you just go Mystic Shot, and like you can't really trade with this character efficiently because when you get up in this character's range, you can just get Crimson Slashed and then you're poked down. It's like a lane bully champ, obviously. Like you can't really do anything to this character in the lane, and then once it reaches like its ult spike, it just like dies under tower and kills you. Whenever I think about this character, I sort of like think like her and Shiv are sort of like the same like role in a game. Like they're both like space makers, like frontline space makers that like deal damage. They're like the same sort of like character to me, like sort of like property, I guess. And Yamato just has like a better laning phase. If this character like has like a lot of like snowball potential, like it can just like snowball an entire game. Yeah, it just becomes like super tanky as well. But a lot of people are not gonna buy the counter to this item as well in MM, like Silence Wave or something like that. Like they don't like to buy this item, so if you get behind on this character, it's gonna feel a little bad, but when you snowball, you're just gonna carry the entire lobby, I think. But yeah, I think this character is H. I think it's similar to Shiv. All right, you guys can talk badly about the list now. It's complete. What do you guys think is wrong? If you guys have a problem with the list, you can put it in the comments below. Is it comp or pubs? I think it's like I'm sort of just like thinking about the characters as a whole. It's not like one or the other. I agree with you, Yams. I think Geist is higher in comp. I think Drifter is lower in comp. I think Victor is he's okay. EU thinks he's really good. It's an all-purpose tier list, but like the reason like why I think Drifter is A tier is because of MM. Like that character is just like super good in MM. Mirage is C tier because he's not the mega Thanos bully in lane that he once was, and if you don't win the lane as Mirage, you're gonna have a bad game. Yeah, that's why I have Wraith so low, is that every time you queue a game as Wraith, you're basically gonna lose lane against like anyone with hands. You're gonna lose lane, and then at that point it's just how badly the enemy is going to punish you and like how bad they're gonna press that advantage. And if they don't press that advantage, like you're gonna be able to scale, but if they do, you're just not gonna be able to do anything for the entire game. So that's why Wraith is poorly ranked. This game is like mostly about the laning phase. Like if you have a good lane and you win lane in this game, your path to snowballing is very, very easy, as long as you like just don't fuck up.